Katseye is everywhere in 2025, and I absolutely love it. Their music is charting worldwide, and their festival stages with the recent Lollapalooza have drawn record-breaking crowds, and now they are taking over fashion. So, on August 19th, 2025, the fashion brand Gap, GAP, unveiled their fall denim campaign titled Better in Denim, with Katseye as the stars, the models. Now, somebody told me about this, which is why I looked into it, and it was pretty cool because I feel like this isn't just another commercial. It's a moment that shows how Katseye is their image is expanding, from a rising pop act into this cultural force with global reach. And when you put this side by side with another denim campaign from just a few weeks earlier, the Sydney, Sweeney, and American Eagle ad that stirred controversy, we can talk about this briefly later, you can actually see exactly what Gap and Katseye did here. So, at the center of the Better in Denim campaign is a short film, about 90 seconds long. And it's set to Kelis' 2003 anthem, Milkshake. And for anyone who remembers the early 2000s era, this track instantly signals what? Y2K. And Gab is clearly playing with nostalgia. But what makes this ad work is the way it is built. First of all, it was directed by Bethany Vargas and shot by photographer Bjorn Yoss. I hope I didn't butcher the pronunciation there. I probably did. And also it was choreographed by Robbie Blue. Now, Robbie Blue is known for his work with artists like Doechii, Take McRae, and Tinashe, and FKA Twigs. And for this film, he says he blended folk-style technique, ballet, hip-hop, and jazz funk. He described it as a dance through decades, just like denim. The clothes moved with the choreography, never against it, and that freedom of movement allowed me and the dancers to tap into something bigger. Now, the choreography, if you have watched the ad, you will know it builds in layers, like more dancers joining in until the formation becomes circular. And this wasn't just a stylistic choice. The campaign was filmed on a custom-built Los Angeles set designed as a circle of love, they say. And the circle formation became a metaphor. Denim as something that unites people across backgrounds and across generations. And that's where the campaign stands out, I think. Instead of denim being stiff and static, it's shown as something alive. Denim in motion, denim as a medium for self-expression. So shout out to all the team who was involved with the creation of this pretty cool ad. Now, Gap, according to their PR, brought back one of their most famous silhouettes, the long and lean jeans, an icon from the early 2000s. But they say this wasn't just a reissue. The jeans were updated with a re-engineered waistband, more comfort, and 10 new seasonal washes. And alongside that, the campaign highlighted the full spectrum of fits, like low, mid, and high-rise, skinny to baggy, designed for movement and individuality. And Katseye made these pieces feel personal. For example, Manon styled her low-rise jeans with briefs showing slightly and crop tops. And Lara folded the waistband to let her hip line show. Daniela paired low-waisted bell bottoms with pointed heels to lengthen her proportions. And Sophia even joked that the jeans were so flexible she could do the splits in them. I'm wearing the Gap skinny jeans right now, and they're so flexible I could do the splits in these. And this is Sophia. And that freedom mattered because Katseye themselves said, Gap didn't ask us to fit in, they invited us to show up as we are. The denim moved with us, and every look felt like our own. We got to perform as ourselves, bringing our style and culture to every frame. And that's what makes this moment so powerful. And the symbolism wasn't only in the clothing, if you look at it. The layered choreography represented people from all walks of life coming together, just like Katseye. And the circle formation was about community. And even the choice of Milkshake, the background track, tied back to boldness, confidence, and the spirit of the early 2000s. And everything was intentional. And speaking of boldness and confidence, that's what this group is all about. Now, this collaboration didn't come out of nowhere because Katseye members, according to them, they actually grew up with Gap. Yoonchae, the maknae in this group, remembered her father buying matching Gap hoodies for her and her sister. Hoodies they wore every day. We used to wear them every day, she gushes. They were our favorite hoodies, she said. And that detail grounded the campaign in real memory and nostalgia. This is Yoonchae. And during the filming, the girls weren't just models, they said. They were active participants. Megan, for example, said the vibe was so bold and very obviously 2000s. And she praised Robbie Blue for capturing that era's energy through choreography. And Lara said, this is Megan. And Lara said her favorite part was a dance break. Where's Lara? Right here. The dance break she performed with Megan and Daniela. Choreography she still does at home, she says. And Sophia added that when all 6 of them moved together on camera, just being hot and confident, it felt powerful even to them. And that authenticity, I feel like, is why this campaign doesn't look forced. It feels like Katseye being themselves, just magnified through Gap's styling. Now, to really understand why the Katseye and Gap campaign landed so smoothly, and why it got a lot of people talk about, it's worth looking at what happened just a few weeks earlier with American Eagle. Now, they launched the campaign with actress Sydney Sweeney under the line, "Sydney Sweeney has great genes." On the surface, it's a cheeky pun, but it immediately set off debate online. Some people thought the wordplay, jeans versus jeans, like J versus G, carried uncomfortable undertones, and others accused the brand of over-sexualizing the actress. And the backlash spread pretty fast, amplified on social media, and reports even suggested American Eagle saw a 9% drop in foot traffic in early August. And the brand tried to manage the fallout with clarifications, but the narrative was already set. Now, was the backlash really that deep, you might ask? Or was it a case of internet outrage doing what it does best? I mean, you could argue that this was essentially rage bait. By sparking a mini controversy, American Eagle guaranteed that their campaign reached far more people than it would have otherwise. It's marketing in the age of social media, lean into the noise, and the ad ends up everywhere. And in fact, I'll be honest, I only learned about the Sydney Sweeney American Eagle campaign because I was researching Katseye's Gap commercial. And the connection between the two made me look it up. And that says something. Even if the tone was awkward, the ad got attention. It succeeded in its own way. And with the when it comes to the 9% drop in store traffic in early August, honestly, it's hard to know if that's truly tied to the commercial or just broader, retail trends. But what we do know is this: people who weren't paying attention to American Eagle are now aware of their new jeans ad. So in a strange way, maybe it worked. But the contrast here isn't really about one campaign being good and the other being bad. It's about strategy. American Eagle leaned into provocation, and Gap, some people might say, leaned into artistry and authenticity. And both ended up dominating the conversation, just in very different ways. Now, back to Katseye. The Gap partnership is more than a fashion ad at this point, because it's proof that their identity translates beyond music. They didn't have to bend themselves to fit the brand. The brand fit around them, so to say. And this campaign highlighted their personal styling, their lived nostalgia with Gap, and their growing presence in global youth culture. You can say it aligned perfectly with their momentum after Beautiful Chaos and Lollapalooza, and it set the stage for their first tour. In other words, I feel like this was the right brand at the right moment with the right execution. Now, speaking of the tour and performances, the timing couldn't have been better. Just a few weeks earlier, Katseye made their debut at Lollapalooza, and they performed early in the day, but still drew the largest crowd ever for a daytime set. Manon admitted they didn't think anyone would show up, which was pretty funny. Yeah, because we didn't think anyone would show up. Having this ocean full of people watching us perform was incredible. Daniela described the stage as freeing, like being at home. She said, "The crowd, let me just say, we were not expecting that many people to show up at all. But once I got on stage, I felt like I was free, like I was at home. We had been rehearsing for many, many weeks, and we had never performed in front of such a large crowd before. It was our first festival, and after getting off the stage, we had so much adrenaline. We wanted to keep going. We were like, let's do it again." And Sophia said it was the moment she felt the group truly belonged at a festival of that size. She said, "It really felt like the six of us belonged there. We were so nervous coming in. I could feel it collectively the moment when we were all letting go." That performance marked a turning point. And now, with the Beautiful Chaos tour set to begin in November, hitting major cities in the US, Canada, and Mexico, Katseye are on the verge of their first global run. And I think Gap stepped in right at the moment when their momentum was peaking. So yeah, for Katseye, Better in Denim, the campaign wasn't just about modeling clothes. It was about showing they can step into a global fashion campaign and make it feel like an extension of who they are. Bold, confident, and authentic. And it's another sign that this group isn't just climbing in music. They're carving out a place in culture itself. That's what I thought. But now I want to hear what you think. Do you see the Gap campaign as a turning point for Katseye? Like the moment they really start to break out beyond music, and also if you want to talk about it, about American Eagle, do you think the controversy was like genuine backlash, or was it like a clever way to get everyone talking about their ad? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading through, and yeah. Looking forward to reading about them. And also, if you bought tickets for Beautiful Chaos Katseye tour, let me know how excited you are. All right. And as always, when you write comments, let's stay positive, respectful, and classy. Peace and love. Bye-bye.